What year is it? Let me just jot this down. Okay. Could you text me a picture of the VIN number? And then how many miles do you have on it? 358, that's right, okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a $500 trade. I just took this in on trade today. It was from a deal we started writing the other day on a used Traverse. This is a 2013 Ford Explorer XLT 4x4. The big thing with this vehicle is it has 358,444 miles on it, which is an incredible amount of mileage for a 10-year-old vehicle. But I gotta tell you, I'm very happy to say that in talking with the customer, this is the original engine, and it also has the original transmission in it. So no major issues with the powertrain of this vehicle with 358,000 miles on it. This vehicle is equipped with a 3.5 liter V6. It's mated to a 6-speed transmission, pumps out 290 horsepower, achieves 17 miles per gallon in the city, 23 miles per gallon on the highway, and has a towing rating of about 2,000 pounds. Not a bad little powertrain in this 2013 Ford Explorer. It obviously stood the test of time, and this gentleman definitely got his money out of it. Oh, we got a little problem here. This is broken.
Hey, I'm gonna bother you, bro.
What do you got? We had to move that Tahoe out of the way during filming. While we're inside, let's take a quick peek. This is an XLT. It does have a full leather interior. This vehicle does have a 3rd row seat. Actually, the customer used it really for business, so it was mostly him on the road transporting things and doing his work. So very rarely, he said, did anyone ever even sit in the passenger seat or in the back seats for that matter. It was just like a workhorse on the road all the time type vehicle. As you can see here on our left, there it is without the sun glare, 358,444 miles. You'll also notice if you look on the right hand side, we do have a check engine light on and an airbag light on. You know, 2 things that could be very costly depending on what's wrong with the vehicle. As we look at the body, you know, not horrible. The hood's actually in decent shape, other than maybe a little bit of rust forming here. If you look down the side on the driver's side of the vehicle, it's not that bad. You know, normal scratches that you would see from constantly grabbing the door handle. Obviously, in and out of this vehicle very, very, very many times. Same sort of thing here on the back door. A little small piece of molding coming out there, which isn't that bad. When we get to the back, you'll see, you know, bumper scratches. This stuff is kind of normal. Broken reflector here. Just typical things that you would see on a vehicle of this age that's been on the road this long. When we come to the passenger side, that's where we're going to see some actual damage. There is a sizable dent here, you know, on the passenger door. The back tires actually aren't that bad, but if you look at the front tires, you know, they're definitely bald. The other tire on the other side is the exact same way. But again, when you have a vehicle with 358,000 miles on it, you're just driving it as long as humanly possible without putting any money into it until you need to replace it, you know. And at this point, the gentleman driving this decided it was time for a replacement. He got more than his money's worth out of this vehicle. Again, original engine, original transmission, 1 owner vehicle. And it just was time to make sure you're not driving down the road for work purposes and then have a breakdown. You know, you don't want to stretch it too far where now you get stuck on the road and you have a problem on your hands. This Ford Explorer does have the power hatch in the back here, so we can open it up. Now he has the seats folded down because, again, no one really ever sat in the 3rd row of this truck. He just had everything usually folded down and used it for storage. These seats kind of fold and tumble up just like that. I think I got to release this one. Yeah. So there you go, 3rd row seat. Obviously same thing here on the other side. And then of course you have your 2nd row bench. Now, as far as addressing the value of this car, you can see there's some damage to the leather seats. You know, it's, again, it's wear and tear for 358,000 miles of driving. And I think when people hear that an entire vehicle was a value of $500, it sounds very low, but that's better. Realistically, what does a dealership do with a vehicle like this? So we're going to send it to auction. We assume what we're going to get. Now, we gave him a $500 value on this vehicle before he even brought it down. We didn't have to see it. We're going based on the year and the mileage of the vehicle. that's what we would offer. You know, we'll give you $500 if you want to unload it. He unloaded it. It's easy for him. He doesn't have to try to sell it. He doesn't have to have people come to the house and you know, nitpick all little things that we're looking at on the vehicle. He just gets rid of it. He unloads it. And he's also not selling what could possibly be a headache to somebody else. You know, again, he got great use out of it, but at any minute, things can start going at 358,000 miles, especially when you talk an original engine and original transmission. So for him, it was easy enough to just drop it off. Other options of what you can do with it, maybe you bring it to a salvage yard. I'm sure they would give you some value for it. It may not be more than a few $100s. You can donate it maybe to a charitable cause. You might get some value out of it that way. You know, in my opinion, the easiest thing is exactly what he did. You drop it off at the dealer, you leave in your new car, we send it to auction, you know, we get what we get for it, and that's pretty much it. Now, the person that's going to make out with this vehicle is the person who buys it to part it out, and I'm assuming that's what will eventually happen. I can't imagine someone's going to go to auction and buy this vehicle to put on the lot somewhere and resell it as a vehicle. But they may buy it and then take the seats out and sell the seats, or take the door off and sell the door. You know, someone who parts the car out is really the one who's going to make some money and get really the maximum value out of a vehicle like this. One of the things I always tell my clients, if they're not happy with the value, sometimes a vehicle there's more value to a vehicle as a vehicle than there is as money. Now, in this situation, I don't know I would necessarily say that, but if you had a family member or somebody who just needed a vehicle to get back and forth A to B, it might be more beneficial to that person to maybe get 5, 6, 7, 8 months out of a vehicle versus you taking a $500 trade value. You know, it's another angle you could always look at if you're trading a vehicle, you're not happy with the value at a dealership. You can see, is there someone that you know that could use a vehicle, and are you confident enough to put them in that vehicle and, you know, drive it on a daily basis?